Yeah, good evening, guys, and welcome to interview preparation session, which is conducting by 360 DGTMG on the day of 5th of April 2022. So, in today's session, we'll just go across some of the basic topics of Python, like uh, regarding Python and some more questions. So, yeah, we'll start the session in 2 minutes, guys. We'll just give 2 minutes of time and let others to join the session. Yeah, okay, fine. We'll directly start the session. So, yeah. So for the day, the first question is, what is a dynamically typed language in Python? So yes, we do know that Python is a dynamically typed language. What does it actually mean? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah, as we look into this, what is a dynamically typed language in Python? Yeah, Python is both a strongly typed as well as a dynamically typed language. Strongly means the variables do have a type, and that the type matters when performing operators, variables across variables and all. This is a strong. So it is one of the main feature in Python, which is strongly typed, as well as if you come across this dynamically typing language, means the type of the variables is determined only during the runtime. The type of the variables will be determined only we are running the program. During the runtime only we'll get to determine those type of the variables. So that's how dynamically typed language does means in Python. So as we jump into the next question, what are lists and tuples? What is the key difference between the two? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box. As you all know, this list and tuples are the data types in this Python programming language. So if anyone knows the answer, can pin me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, list and tuples are both sequence data types, and they can store collection of objects in Python. The objects store which are stored in both the sequences can have different data types. List is represented with the square braces, as you all know, and tuples are represented with parentheses. But what is the real difference between them? The key difference between the two of these are: list is a mutable data types, tuples are immutable objects. So this means the list can be modified, appended, or sliced on the go, but tuples remains constant and cannot be modified at any manner. They remains constant. Once they have been declared, they remains constant. So yeah, Kanchana, you are right in the chat box. So as we jump into the next question, what is pass in Python? So if anyone has an idea on it, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer with it. Yeah. As we look into this, what does this pass command does in Python? The pass keyword, it basically represents a null operation in Python, which means suppose if you're working on a data set, we do some dummy variables, null values, and so we have to clean them, right? So in that cases we use this pass keyword. It is generally used for the purpose of filling up the empty blocks of code which may execute during runtime but has yet to be written. Okay. So by filling those null columns or empty columns, we use this pass keyword in Python. Okay. As we jump into the next question, what is break, continue, and pass in Python? What are these statements stands for? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah, as we look into this break, the break statements, it basically terminates the loop immediately, and control flows to the statement after the body of the program will be run as usual. Continue, the continue statements terminates the current iteration of the statement and skip the rest of the code in the current iteration, and the control flows to the next iteration of the loop. As explained above, pass keyword. As explained above, the pass keyword is Python is generally used to fill up the empty blocks and is similar to an empty statement which represented by a semicolon in language such as C++, Java, JavaScript, and all. So as we jump into the next question, what are decorators in Python? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, what are the decorators in Python? Decorators in Python are very essential functions and that add functionalities to an existing function in Python. So without changing the structure of this function, it basically changes the it doesn't changes the structure of a function. So it directly represented with an code called at the rate decorators underscore name in Python and can are called in a bottom up fashion, which is up to down fashion. So as we jump into the next question, what is a lambda function, lambda in Python? What is its use? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. As we look into this, what is a lambda in Python and how does it use lambda? It is an anonymous function in Python, which can be accepted any number of arguments, which it can accept n number of arguments, but can only have a single expression. It does have a single expression, but it can accept n number of arguments. So it is generally used in situations requiring an anonymous functions for a short time period. So these lambda functions can be used in either of two ways. It can be used in two different ways. Assigning lambda variables to a variable and wrapping those lambda functions inside some other functions. So these were the two ways of using these lambda functions. So this is it, guys. And as we jump into the next question, what is the difference between the range and range in Python? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer. Yeah. As we look into this, what is the difference between this range and range functions? The range and range are quite similar in terms of functionalities. So they both generate a sequence of integers, with the only difference in range returns as well as in Python list, whereas range returns an range objects. So this is the only difference between the range and range. So as we jump into the next question, while importing data from different sources, can the pandas library recognizes the dates, which means what's the exact question is, if you're taking some data from other sources, can this library recognizes the dates of that of them which have been taken from other sources? So try to, if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah, as we look into this, yes, the answer is yes, they can, but with some bit of help, yes, they can recognize, but there is needed some amount of help. What is this? So we need to add the phrase underscore dates arguments while we are reading data from the sources. So suppose, take an example, we are reading the data from a CSV file. So we may encounter different date time formats. So those are not readable by the pandas library. In that case, pandas provide flexibility to build our custom date parser with the help of these lambda functions. Okay. So as we jump into the next question, what do you understand by NumPy? So what is NumPy? NumPy, it is one of the library as pandas we mostly use in Python. So what do you know about this NumPy library? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. As we look into this, what does you want? What do you have an idea on this NumPy function, NumPy library? So NumPy is one of the most popular, easy to use, versatile, open source, Python-based general purpose package which is used for processing array. So this NumPy is short for a numerical Python. Okay, the full form of this is numerical Python. This is very famous for its high optimized tools that results in high performance and powerful n-dimensional arrays. And the processing feature that is designed explicitly to work on some complex arrays. So it is designed to work on some complex arrays. So due to its popularity and powerful performance, its flexibility to perform various operations like trigonometric, algebra, statistical computations. So it is most commonly used in performing scientific computations and various broadcasting functions. So NumPy is one of the most important libraries in Python. So it has a vast number of things we can do with it. Okay. So as we jump into the next question, differentiate between a package and a module in Python. So what does a package and a module? How they are differ with? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within. Yeah. Uh, as we come across this, the module is a single Python file. A module can import other modules as objects, whereas a package is a folder or a directory where different subpackets in the modules they can recite it. So a Python module is created by saving a file with an extension of .py. So I think everyone has an idea on it that if we write any Python file, if you want to save it in our system, you have to use this .py as an extension to save the file. This file will have some of the classes, functions, and which are reusable in the code as well as across some modules. That's how it goes on. So as we jump into the next question, what is PIP stands for? So if anyone knows the answer and define it, and if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah, as we look into this, the PIP stands for Python Installer Package. So, as this name indicates, it is used for installing different Python modules. So, it is a command line tool providing a seamless interface for installing different Python modules. So, it searches over the internet for the packages and installs them into the working dictionary without the need of any interaction. So, there is no need of any interaction to install any packages with the help of the user. So as we look into the next question, this is an MCQ question, guys. So yeah, and the question is, which of the following is the use of this ID function in Python? And the options are: every object doesn't has an unique ID. ID returns the identity of an object. All of them, all of the above, and none of the mentioned. So if anyone knows the answer, try to mention in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, and the answer for this was B. Each ID returns the identity of an object. So each object in Python has an unique ID, and the ID function returns the object type. So as we jump into the next question, which one of the following is the use of Python in use of function in Python? And the options are: functions don't provide better modularity for your applications. You can't also create your own functions. Functions are reusable pieces of programs, and all of the above. So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within Now, as we look into this, and the option is C. Functions are reusable piece of programs. They allow you to give a name to a block of statements, allowing you to run that block using the specific name, and anywhere in your program and any number of times. So as we jump into the next question, which of the following is a Python tuple? Among these options, which one is the right option for a tuple? So if anyone knows the answer, try to mention in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now as we look into this tuples, it will be represented with parenthesis, and D is the right option. So what are the two main types of functions in Python? System function, custom function, built-in function, and user-defined function or user function. So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within. Yeah. Now as we look into this, and the options here, the four options, and the correct answer is C. Built-in functions and user-defined functions. The built-in functions are part of this Python language. Examples are directories, length, apps. So these were some of the functions which we use in this Python language. The user-defined functions are functions which are created with a definition keyword. So which one of the following is not a keyword in Python? And the options are pass, eval, assert, and non-local. So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, and the answer for this is the eval, which can be used as a variable also. So, as we jump into the next question, where is function defined? Where does a function define? And the options are in a module, inside a class, inside some other function, or all of the options which have been mentioned over here. So, if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah, as we look into this, the function is defined inside an uh, module class as well as some other functions. It depends upon the which are using the functions are defined. As we jump into the next question, which of the following functions is an inbuilt function in Python? Factorial, print, seed, and square root. Which of them are inbuilt functions in Python? And the option is B. As we all know, B is a function. Print function is an inbuilt function which we use in Python. The function seed is a function which is present in the random module. The function square root and factorial are a part of the math modules. But the print function is a built-in function which provides value directly. Okay. So here, what will be the output of this code? Print abc dot def dot capitalize. What does this capitalize function does? Okay. So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, if we use this capitalize function, we'll get the output would be for this function is abc dot def. The first letter of the string which has been converted into the uppercase, and the other have been converted into the lower cases. So as we jump into the next question, what will be the output of the following Python code? Print star abcde dot center 6 star, and so this is a code which we have been right now over here. Right in center, I've been mentioned hashtag 6. For this 6, I've been mentioned as A, B, C, D, and E. So for this, the output will be star A, B, C, D, and E star. Okay. So that's padding is done towards the right hand side first when the final string is of even length. That's it for the day, guys. Thanks for attending the session, and we'll meet in the next session, guys. Hope you have a great day. Bye.